Do you know what anorexia is? Have you heard about it? Well, anorexia is a disease that is related to eating and the way we see our own bodies. It is characterized by thoughts that involve a great concern with thinness and fear of gaining weight. In addition to eating habits that are harmful to health, people with anorexia have their personal lives and interpersonal relationships compromised because of the disease. This serious disease requires the help of several professionals for its treatment, but mainly family support and understanding of this disorder by everyone. Today, here on the channel, hey doctor, we're going to talk to you about anorexia. But first, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let's get started. First, understand how important the role of food is in our lives. The act of eating is influenced by several aspects. It involves the way people select, prepare, and consume food, in addition to understanding emotions and social and cultural relationships. To help you understand better, I'll give you some examples. Do you know when lunchtime is approaching and your stomach starts to show signs of hunger? This is related to the nutritional dimension of food. It is guided by the basic needs of hunger, thirst, and satiety. Now imagine that you are choosing your lunch, and like a good Brazilian, you choose rice and beans and a piece of meat or chicken. All of these choices are influenced by our culture. If you lived in another country, your lunchtime choices would probably be different. These characteristics are related to the social and cultural dimension of food. Furthermore, I want you to think about who you would like to be with at mealtime. It would probably be someone you consider special, since we use mealtime as a way to bring family and friends together and celebrate special occasions. In this case, we are talking about the emotional dimension of eating. Do you see how complex it is? I bet you hadn't stopped to think about how our eating habits influence us. Now, let's talk about anorexia. Anorexia can be a symptom or a disease. When it presents itself as a symptom, it means that a person has no appetite and no desire to eat. This symptom is very present when we are sick or depressed. At these times, we almost don't want to eat and have no appetite, so we are considered anorexic. When anorexia presents itself as a disease, we call it anorexia nervosa. This disease is a psychiatric disorder. That is, it is a disease that begins in our mind and has repercussions on our routine, which directly affects the way we eat and perceive our body image. In the case of anorexia, people with this disorder have an intense fear of gaining weight and of their body shape being large or fat. In fact, with this disease, sometimes the person sees themselves as having a fat body, even when they are extremely thin, which ends up never ceasing this urge to lose weight. So these people generally eat very little and avoid certain types of food, especially those that have higher amounts of fat and carbohydrates, regardless of their physical shape. Because of this dietary restriction, these people end up becoming very deficient in basic nutrients that are responsible for guaranteeing energy for the proper functioning of the organs and systems of our body. Thus, some complications that can occur in patients with anorexia are muscle weakness, fainting, heart problems, osteoporosis, organ damage, and, unfortunately, in extreme cases, the person may end up needing hospitalization due to life-threatening conditions. Sounds serious, doesn't it? However, despite this apparent severity, the suffering of the person with the disorder is not limited to physical and nutritional issues. There is also emotional, psychological, and social suffering. Remember when I told you at the beginning of this video that anorexia directly affects the individual's social relationships and personal life? Unfortunately, those with anorexia nervosa begin to isolate themselves, stop attending family meals, don't leave the house to eat, and become increasingly attached to the idea of losing weight and not gaining weight. One thing that is important to mention is that the patient with anorexia will have their sense of hunger preserved, which means that these people feel very hungry. But they are able to ignore this feeling and continue without eating. This can reach a point where they lose control and end up eating large amounts of food, then feel guilty and afraid of gaining weight, and end up adopting a behavior to compensate for the large amount of food they have just eaten. These behaviors involve inducing vomiting, excessive physical activity, taking laxatives, and diuretics, among others. Do you realize how serious anorexia is? That's why we need to understand this disorder so that we can be a support network when someone close to us needs us. You may be wondering if this disease has a treatment, and the answer is yes. anorexia treatment involves a team of several health professionals, including a psychiatrist, psychologist, and nutritionist. Emotional and psychological support is essential to help the person overcome the interpersonal aspects of anorexia. Therefore, it is very important to seek help if you or someone you know is struggling with anorexia. Treatment can be effective, and recovery is possible with the right support. Remember that our diet is complex and involves much more than the pursuit of an unattainable body ideal. It is essential to seek a healthier relationship with food, prioritizing nutrition, emotional well-being, and the social and cultural context in which we live in order to promote healthy eating habits throughout life. I hope this video was informative and helped you understand anorexia. If you have any suggestions for topics that you are curious about, leave them in the comments, and we will definitely try to add them to the channel's topics. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Can I count on you? If you want to go one step further, sponsor this channel. Just click on Become a Member. Your participation is important. Believe me, this is the only way we will be able to maintain the level of research and production that guarantees quality for this channel. Become a member and choose one of the available options. Big hug, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.